What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on the channel, and today we're going to be reviewing Port Adelaide versus Brisbane. Round 17 is done and dusted. We lost by 28 points at the Gabba. Brisbane completing another victory against us at the Gabba, completing another victory against the club itself. 8 out of the last 9 wins Brisbane have taken out against us, and yeah, it's been one of those rivalries that has definitely lent towards one side in the later stages. It's not been fun and wasn't a fun game to digest. It was definitely a chase your tail approach from Port Adelaide ever since the first quarter, and yeah, it just never eventuated into anything other than the typical stiff arm game that you see when a team's trying to come back but will make a few mistakes, and then Brisbane will just respond, and Port Adelaide will come back with kick a couple more, and it just never eventuated into anything other than a 28-point loss, which is actually not exactly how I predicted. I thought this was either going to be a win for us, or we were going to get blown out of the water. And I tell you what, ominous signs at quarter time when it was 52-20, and that last 10-15 minutes of that first quarter was the difference in this game. And I sit here and I can't quite. I've taken 48 hours to digest the game. I didn't do a preview yesterday due to work-related and timing restrictions, but doing one today, have a bit of a clearer head on what exactly happened. And it's been the storyline of our whole year, in a sense that we're good enough, but we can't quite execute the good enough factor for longer periods of time. And there was a lot more to this game than just the scoreboard. Everyone will look back at this game and say, oh, Brisbane beat Port Adelaide by 28 points. Okay, no worries, there's a result. It was more to it than this one. With this game in particular, we saw things happen that, of course, every time we go to the Gabba, we just seem to walk away with less players. Every time we go to the Gabba, we just seem to enclose ourselves under pressure. And yeah, we've seen this similar storyline 2022 round 1. We were leading and then we capitulated because of injuries. And the final as well against them in 2023. It's just been a tough road, a tough trip for us, and every time we travel there, it's just a shit result. Obviously we saw Salva Radicale go down with his hamstring. That's ending his year. Dante Visentini has syndesmosis, and that's ended his year. And we also sit here now and have the news that Sam Powell-Pepper has done his ACO and be done for the next 12 months, which is the biggest story that comes from this. It's heartbreaking. This guy has fought his way through different battles of his career. He's shown so many glimpses, so many great signs, and every time you see he's on the verge of ticking a box to become, a superstar, he gets injured, and it's an ACL once again. And this Sam Powell-Pepper is the barometer of Port Adelaide. He induces our side and just becomes someone that is a superpower, like that. He can bash the packs, he can have that big moment, kick a great goal. He did it in the first quarter, getting a handball from Boak. It's moments like that you sit here and go, wow, that's Powell-Pepper at his best, and has found his role. He's got the perfect role in footy, that high half forward that can attack the contest, be an option inside 50, but get out. His overhead marking's fantastic, and his kicking from long range, and just his pressure and ability to continue on is just fantastic. And you could see the mindset in Port once he went down. It was, it just deteriorated everyone. We kept fighting, and in true Pep spirit, we kept fighting. And I wish him all the best for recovery, and I hope he comes back. Probably be a mid next year operation, but when he comes back. But he's had surgery, hopefully goes successfully, and everything is all okay. He's got a baby to look after as well, so I'm sure he'll be doing that and making sure his family's all okay. Like I said, in true Pep spirit, we kept fighting. We kept getting our way back into the game. It was never really in the game. It was always one goal away from making a difference. And in that last quarter, when we were 15, 16 points down, it was like, wow, hang on a second, we're finally at that point. Brisbane kick a couple of goals in a row, and all of a sudden it's game over. But just one of those things where you just almost think that Port Adelaide can get the job done. It was led by Zach Butters, who was phenomenal on the night. Connor Rosie had his 31 off half-back and wasn't really damaging, but he really led the way in terms of being that powerful half-back that he is. Trav Boak at 36 years old had 27 touches. Saw a lot of people talking about Trav's game, and I'm obviously always biased towards Boki was better than good than bad. I thought he was, he's more than serviceable, and when he's still getting your clearances, he's still been that option, that link up. He's still been a smart footballer. We had 27, 14 of those were handballs, but they were good handballs, and I think, I know he turns the ball over. I know he butchers the footy going inside 50 sometimes, but he's been a hard worker. He's been a determined player, and I can't let my mindset say he has to go, because he has a go still. There's players on this team that when the going gets tough will just cheaply give it away, and he doesn't. So opinion is out there for Boak's game, but he was a lot better than the majority of the team out there. And we still had players that had their moments, but also didn't have their moments. And you saw Pep go down. It was like, well, who's going to stand up? And Horn Francis was massive in a portion of the game. Willem Drew was very serviceable. Ollie Wines contestedly. Jack Lukosia's first game back in the AFL system has just banged 3 goals, 2 of them coming from the car park at the Gabba. Georgiadis was phenomenal. And certain things also didn't go our way umpiring wise. Lockie Jones is running too far, was like 12 steps. I don't understand how that happens. I thought Joe Richards was okay as well. Brisbane are a good side. This is a game of footy that I will not criticise too deeply about because of injuries. We didn't give up. We continued to fight, and I felt like there was just little opportunities late that possibly just wouldn't have, that could have changed the game. In saying that, Brisbane are just a better side. They got their run on. They have their momentum. Once you get momentum at the Gabba, it's unstoppable. We've seen that. And I think the credit is deserved to go to them, but we held our own. I thought we were promising. It does mean our season is done, and that is unfortunate. It sucks. But we can still have a role to play this year. And I hope you sit here now and you got Ken Hinkley in the coach's box putting lollies in his mouth and smiling at the camera, which was funny. Don't get me wrong, people lighten up. And I'm like, in the moment, do you really think I want to be looking at my coach smiling with lollies? I know he's having a great time finishing his career at Port Adelaide, but there's 2 ways you can look at this, and accepting the fact that you're still an opportunity to be the top side at their home ground and smiling at the camera. And it's just a tough thing to swallow in the moment. Yeah, it's funny. It can definitely be used as a meme, but I just don't feel like it was timely. Unless it was used at a different time, I'm not sure. But hey, we'll see how it eventuates. Got West Coast this week. A big win against the Eagles at home is just a momentum changer for our end of year, which is quite tough. And we'll see how that all pans out. But for now, the season is done. Ken's on the outer. Boak's career's on the verge of being either, he's going to call it, or who knows what happens with Trav. Powell-pepper's done. And it's just a tough, emotional sort of period of time to be a Port fan. So, yeah, difficult to say. But based on this performance, I can't say too much more. We were okay. We were good. We fought it out, and it's just 10 minutes in the first quarter that cost us the game. Let me know in the comments below, Port fans, your thoughts about the game and certain things like, will Trav Boak play on next year? What would you do with Trav? Obviously, Powell-pepper's news is terrible, and a few other injuries as well that really, really hurt, especially with the Sava, who was in a great patch. So devastating, but we take it on the chin. We'll move on to West Coast this week, and we'll see if we can rattle a few feathers going into the back end of the year. But thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're new for plenty more Port Adelaide and AFL content to come your way. We're so close to 6,000 subscribers, so make sure you jump on board if you haven't already. Thank you for watching once again. My name's Anthony, and as always, count the pair.